Chapter 1. The First Approach. The rain fell in sheets over Langley, Virginia, turning the CIA headquarters into a fortress of shadows. Inside, the fluorescent lights and the rhythmic tap of typewriters filled the air ordinary sounds. But in this place, nothing was ever ordinary. It was 1985, and the Cold War was at its peak, a silent battle fought in the dark corners of the world. The men and women who worked here knew the stakes. One wrong move, one misplaced trust, and the balance could tip. And then there was him, a man with a name that would later become infamous, though at the time he was just another face in the crowd, a Soviet defector, or so he claimed. His story was flawless years of service in the KGB, disillusionment with the system, a desperate plea for asylum. The CIA had heard it all before, but this time something felt different. The first approach came in the dead of night, a whispered conversation in a dimly lit safe house. The man, let's call him Victor, sat across from a seasoned case officer, his hands steady, his voice calm. He spoke of secrets, of names, of operations buried so deep even the highest-ranking officials didn't know they existed. The case officer listened, skeptical but intrigued. Defectors were a gamble. Some were genuine. Others were traps. Victor's intelligence was too precise to ignore. He described a mole inside the CIA, a man feeding Moscow everything gauging identities, operational plans, even the locations of safe houses. The case officer's pulse quickened. If this was true, it was a disaster. But if it was a lie, it was a masterstroke of Soviet deception. The CIA moved fast. Victor was debriefed for days, his story dissected, cross-referenced, tested. Every detail had to be verified. Meanwhile, the mole hunt began in earnest. Agents were pulled from the field, interrogated, their loyalties questioned. The atmosphere at Langley grew thick with paranoia. Trust was a luxury no one could afford. And then the first piece of Victor's intelligence checked out. A name, a real name, a man who had been working in counterintelligence for years, someone with access to the most sensitive files. The case officer's stomach twisted. If Victor was telling the truth, the CIA had been compromised at the highest levels. If he was lying, the Soviets had just played their most dangerous game yet. The decision was made. Victor would be integrated into the CIA, given a new identity, a new life. He would be watched, tested, but also trusted up to a point. The stakes were too high to ignore him. The mole hunt intensified, but now there was a new variable in the equation. Victor, he moved through the halls of Langley like a ghost, his presence both a blessing and a curse. The agents who worked with him didn't know whether to fear him or rely on him. His knowledge was invaluable, but his past was a question mark. Every conversation was a negotiation, every glance a potential betrayal. And then the unthinkable happened. A message, intercepted by British intelligence, surfaced in the archives. A Soviet cable, dated years before Victor's defection, mentioned a man with his description and age and planted deep inside the West. The CIA froze. Was Victor the real mole? Had he been playing them all along? The case officer who had first met Victor in that safe house sat in his office, staring at the decoded message. The rain outside had stopped, but the storm inside his mind raged on. If Victor was a double agent, the CIA had just handed him the keys to their most closely guarded secrets. If he wasn't, they had a traitor in their midst, and the Soviets knew it. The choice was clear. Victor had to be tested, not just with questions, but with action, a real operation, one that would expose him if he was a liar. The CIA prepared a sting, a fake mission designed to flush out a traitor. If Victor tipped off Moscow, they would know the truth. The operation was set in motion. The tension was unbearable. Every agent involved knew the risks. If Victor was clean, they might finally uncover the real mole. If he wasn't, the CIA would have to make a choice to eliminate him or let him walk, knowing he would take their secrets with him. The results came in. Victor had passed the test, but the real question remained. Was he telling the truth, or was this just another layer of the deception? The answer would come soon enough, and when it did, it would change everything.